As one of the most popular characters, Faust has no shortage of fans in the Guilty Gear scene. His +R iteration also happens to be particularly strong, especially in the hands of someone who can make the most of his randomness. One such player is ElvenShadow. If you've ever watched a +R top 8, you've probably seen his Faust at work, and today Elven stops by to share the secret sauce. What is up, y'all? KRCPinto here. Today on Secret Sauce, I've got a super special guest for you. The founder of Frosty Faustings himself, ElvenShadow. ElvenShadow, how you doing today, man?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me. Doing all right.
Stoked to have you. You're, the premier Faust main of Guilty Gear +R. You literally have your tournament named after him. So, getting your insight on this character, I think it's going to be awesome. Super stoked. Got some good questions for you today. You ready to dive right into it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do it. Guilty Gear, this game specifically +R, I always like to start out to just go over what the character's specialty is, because every character in this game kind of has a unique gimmick. With Faust, he's got his pogo stance and he's got his RNG for his items. So could you just touch on those factors real quick that really make him stand out amongst the cast?
Sure. Let's talk about Faust's items, right?
Hey, y'all. When recording this episode, Elven and I went through every single item and their characteristics. The section ended up being a bit beefy, so I split the breakdown into its own video, which you can find using this link. Hope you find it and the rest of the episode helpful.
Like I said, basically Faust always wants items out. You're gonna want to basically throw an item every opportunity you get where it's safe. So if I'm just full screen, why not throw an item? If I am in neutral, I'm gonna want to do pokes like far slash an item, crouch heavy into an item. Like any opportunity I can, like just get an item out there. You can use item cancel in middle of pressure strings. Like for example, if I put the enemy on guard. Right, so if I want to do like a string, I can cancel it instantly, not item throw. So you can get situations where like I go for like a tick grab, right? And like I could have comboed off that bomb right there. So basically, it can be used in that way as just a means of making certain things safe. Like especially like this move, super unsafe on block, right? I have to cancel into some kind of special. If I do pogo, this puts me in a bad situation. Maybe depending on the matchup, I might not want to be in pogo stance, like in that position on the screen. But if I just do item, boom, I'm back like normal, and I got a free full screen overhead as a result. Obviously, I could cancel into this too, but it's nice to have the ability depending on the situation. So yeah, item throw, you just want to get as many as you can, and I talked about the cooldown, so just try and fill the screen with items. Item super in this game is better than any other Guilty Gear game simply because of the fact that items are all so good in this game for the most part. So you definitely want to just use item a lot. So
how random is the RNG? Like, is there like any sort of like back end predictability to it, the way Zappa's summons are tied to like the time, or is it just completely random?
It's not tied to time, but there's a higher probability of getting certain items than others. So there's certain items that are more common than others. There's a chart out there for it. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to rattle that off. No worries. I was just wondering if there was like any sort of manipulation
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I don't have each percentage memorized, but I know Mini Potemkin's the most rare. Stuff like hammers and donuts and candy and like mini Faust, that kind of stuff, bombs. Those are the more common ones that you're going to see more often.
Okay. So let's talk pogo. This guy, he throws a scalpel under him. He's standing on it. It changes his hurt box and it gives him some move options. Is that just...
Yeah, that's part of it. So yeah, so pogo, it's quarter circle forward slash. You'll notice he goes back a little bit, and if for whatever reason the opponent was behind him, it actually hits behind. Right, so hitting someone with it puts him in a slide state. You can combo off of it with the flower on the ground. But other than that, without meter, you're not really going to get much. Like in a lot of the other games, you combo with Going in My Way because it bounces off the wall. Like almost every other Guilty Gear besides besides the accent core and plus R, it usually would just wall bounce, so you go into going my way. But anyway, so all his buttons change when I'm pogo. This is punch, this is kick, this is slash, this is heavy slash, gives you going my way, and then dust gives you item grab or item throw. Dust gives you item throw. So punch, this is an overhead, and it links into itself, kind of. Not on its own, but like in certain situations, like if they're in the air, you could combo 2 of them, or certain combos, right? So that's like a mix-up tool. The slash is his low. This is a low, but like it won't hit up close, so you have to be a certain distance away. So like the kick button, the one where the flower comes out of his head, this is an anti-air, and like it drastically reduces Faust's hurt box. Like he almost has no hurt box, and this move is deceptively good. If it counter hits you, it does lots of stun. It's a knockdown. You can get free follow-ups with other stuff. It's also really loud and annoying, so sorry for mashing it.
It's quiet enough, no worries.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great anti-air. If someone is trying to attack you when you're on pogo, your 2 main answers are going to be this or backdash, which puts you behind and it'll dodge. So going my way obviously is going my way. You know what that move is. He actually can FRC it at the end too. And then obviously being able to throw items is pretty key. The cooldowns are the same like normal. And then if I hit up forward, I can hop. So to go back, I just hit back. To get forward, I can hit up forward, hop, or I can do forward. So that hits too. If I get a counter hit, it's going to lead into knockdown into whatever I want, because I could OTG actually with the flower. It OTGs and picks up for more combo extensions. And then the other thing he can do on pogo stance is when I'm in this state, the up forward state, if I hit dust, this is a force break, costs 25 meter. So I can like do nasty stuff where like I cross up to the other side. Since it OTGs, you can get like lots of extra follow-ups. Like it's not going to do a ton of damage, but it's good at extending combos for the sake of like making things take longer. Say they have poison on them, or say they're about to die and I just need a few extra hits. There's certain situations where you might want to use it, or to just contest stuff. Like if someone's coming at you, right, and they throw out a button, you could just like try and squash it. Like if it's something that sticks out far enough. So yeah, I mean, pogo stance is really interesting, and it's not good in like in every matchup. So characters have ways to just like get in there and mess you up. But like it can be good in certain situations, and it's really good for combos in general. You're using it for a lot of combos. So the tricky thing about it is you can't block on it, right? But you're a little vulnerable, so you just have to rely on this and this. And then to get off, you just hold down. Or if you just don't press anything for a while, he automatically dismounts after a certain amount of time.
Gotcha.
That's about it.
And so you can't block in that stance, but they have to hit Faust's body to hit him. Like hitting the lower part of the scalpel doesn't do anything, correct?
That is correct. And so if I was to show you something else, okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
That move knocks down if you're on the ground, but I'm not on the ground anymore. So against Potemkin especially, it can be very good because then he can't use slide head to knock you down from full screen. If you're just sitting on the pogo, I can also sit there and throw items while I'm on it. So, what is he going to do to me from full screen? Nothing. He can't do anything from full screen. So, it could be good, like I said, in certain situations. And the fact that you're not on the ground, lows are going to whiff, and certain other moves that would only hit you if you're touching the ground will not work, like Dizzy's super, for example, or she sucks you into that portal. That also would whiff. So, yeah.
That's a pretty handy little thing he can do.
Yeah.
So is this like a matchup specific thing? Is it something you're using in every matchup? Like, I guess, no, what I mean, like I know it's combo ability for like every matchup is pretty solid, but like do you ever use this defensively in matchups like Dizzy and Potemkin? Are there other situations where you would also use it defensively?
Yeah, like I would use it. Well, I would use it in neutral sometimes. Like, so let's say I started some pressure and I ended up in pogo stance. Like I went for a string. They blocked the pogo. Usually that's unsafe in a lot of situations, but I can like back that. I mean, what you can do if they block it is, there we go. So like, you know, I can keep pressuring with this. Like if I have them in the corner and they're a character that like can't say contest like me, this move comes out so fast. Like contest this, and if it trades, like they're gonna get knocked down. Like, but like if I can just keep them like a little afraid and get in with like this, there's certain times when like this actually is a decent way to like kind of bully someone, or like using this as just a poke in neutral is like good because it's so far. Like if I finish pogo stance at a distance where like I know they're gonna try and like throw a button out or jump away, like I can sometimes catch them with this. So it you know, there's times like I said you might want to use it in neutral, like against Potemkin or somebody, but in terms of other than that, it's like a defensive thing. Like not really. You're not going to use it as like a DP because it's kind of slow startup. Like I said, it does kind of go backwards at first, so sometimes you could dodge things, but like usually if you're trying to dodge something like in that way, just backdash is probably better.
All right, next one's low ball question. Nice, easy one for you. What is your favorite move of Faust and why? Totally personal opinion. Doesn't even have to be good, just your personal favorite.
I don't know. Probably the button I hit the most, that I get the most utility off of, is jump H. Just look at this button. Look at how far it goes. I can control the position in which it comes out using FDC to like how low I want it. I can throw out a few. I can do super jump and do a few of them. Like it's so good. Like I can do it low to the ground and like hit them when they're standing and like continue pressure like that. What a good button. He has it in every game, and I would never like to see it taken out. Another move I'm really known for is 6H. People say my 6Hs are unblockable. It's silly because it's easy to jump out of 6H and just block it. But people just get hit by it because you can mix it in certain situations. Like it cancels off a lot of stuff. It's like I can do like, you know, 5P 6H. A lot of people don't like think about that. Or, you know, like you could do like well, no, it only really goes off 5P in strings. But you know, you could just throw it out there like from far away too. Like I told you, you could throw it out as like a long range poke if they're on the ground, make it safe by like canceling into that like item throw. If you knock someone down and you like make them wake up and like block that from like far away, they won't expect it sometimes as they're getting up. So like, yeah, it's a good move, but you can't abuse it. It's only good when you use it sparingly enough to make them like not expect it or fear it. Because once they start just jumping out of it, it's really not that effective anymore. But you could it also hits in the air, so if they're like right above you, right, that'll hit. And so they also have to block that with that faultless defense normally. I don't know why I think it's just guarding all automatically somehow. But either way, that's weird. But anyway, the fact that it covers that much space, though, the problem is good, but the problem is there's like a gap in the middle, kind of. Like maybe Potemkin not so much. Yeah. So if he could jump over it, right? There's a gap where it won't cover if he's at a certain height, like there.
Right.
So really up close. In terms of specials, item throw. I love items.
I mean, how could that not be the answer? With all these items you have to work with,
especially
that has
in
to
this
be the
game.
Answer, right?
Yeah, especially in this version of Guilty Gear. this particular version of Guilty Gear item throw is the best it's ever been.
Yeah, I definitely felt that while we were playing earlier. Definitely felt the item oppression. What do you think in Plus R are Faust's best and worst matchups in your opinion? Not necessarily on paper, but you know, you've played in a lot of tournaments. You literally run a tournament. You fought everyone under the sun. Who do you think like you have the most trouble with playing Faust, and who do you think you just kind of wipe the floor with?
Faust for me, Zappa is the hardest for sure in this game. In this particular version of Guilty Gear, not every version, but +R because of the sword specifically. But basically, once the sword is out, he can keep extending it, and it's going to get into a point where you're fighting it from full screen, and like you can't do anything against it. You just have to get away from it. You can't hit it. Faust is slow air dash, and like he has to just get away from it. And without meter to get in with either like this or like this, it's gonna be really hard to get away from it. And so like he just has to keep blocking it forever, and Zappa can just really like abuse the hell out of him. He can't throw items when it's on him. It's gonna get counter hit out of it. So that alone, it's like makes it so rough. And like fighting Zappa in general, you have to be careful of what normals you use. It's the same for everyone, I guess, because a lot of it whiffs over his head. Like Far Slash, I can't use Far Slash a lot because Zappa will just like stand there and it whiffs, or run and get at me and it whiffs. So I gotta use like a lot of this, like a lot of my normals that hit low-ish. So it's just a hard matchup. Other than that, I hate fighting Mei. I just personally hate fighting Mei forever. Like her jump is so fast. She just jumps out of like everything. Like she'll just dolphin you like when you're throwing items, and like she just bullies the hell out of Faust. It's hard to anti-air her. It's just a really difficult matchup to really get things started when she's on you, and the neutral is just a pain, like getting counter hit out of all kinds of stuff. I also hate fighting Baiken, like having to deal with her guard point stuff, like her counters, is a real pain. Just you have to change the way you zone, like just even zoning with like my favorite button can be a pain because you guard, cancel and stuff, like Far Slash or this, you could just like punish you throwing those out. So like you really have to kind of be able to rush her down, or like fight her from a super far distance. But once she's like mid-screen against you, it's like really difficult to deal with her. And once she starts throwing tatamis and keeping you blocked, like it can be really rough. So you either want to keep her like totally out or like be rushing her down hard. Easy matchups for Faust are actually Potemkin's one of them, but a really good Potemkin, once he gets in on you, can just tear you up. So you really have to play lame as hell and just like really keep him out as much as possible. Try to stay off the ground, kind of, because slide head's dangerous. Once he knocks you down, he gets in. It's like, unless you have meter, you don't really have good ways of getting him off you. And then it's just play RPS and guess wrong, and you're like probably dead. So, Kai's also not bad for Faust because it's just been a favorable matchup in general. He could like bait Kai's DP by just doing this button. Like Kai's DP will just whip at the right distance. And just in general, like the neutral is not bad. I mean, Kai can fight Faust. It's not that terrible, but I've always felt like it's not too bad for Faust. Maybe Abba's good, I would say, for Faust, because when she's in not in Maroha mode, like he can bully the hell out of her in neutral. But once she gets in Maroha mode, he just kind of has to run away and not like get put in block stun on the ground. He really just wants to like do anything he can to keep her off with bomb bags, items, just like far pokes, jump H, not get in a position where he's in the corner, because then he's kind of in huge trouble. And you just gotta block it out, and or just hope you have a burst or a dead angle if they don't get baited. But once you get out, it's like sometimes her health is so low you just need like one little hit and she's dead. So like overall it's not that hard for Faust once you actually like understand the matchup well.
Faust in neutral. What are you doing with Faust to play a strong neutral game and close gaps?
Yeah, so what I want to do in neutral is basically I always want them in block stun as much as possible, right? But like I want to find situations where I can put them in block stun and get items out with whatever have you, Usually you're going to want to like wait until you're at least in a position where you're far enough to get an item if they're blocking. But if there's no reason for me to necessarily go in if I'm in a position where I can fight with these buttons these buttons, these farther away buttons from a distance in most cases, because I'm either going to hit them and then go and get a confirm into a combo, which is going to lead into a knockdown, or I'm going to cancel into an item and then enhance my neutral game, hopefully, by confirming what that item is and what is the best course of action instantly for me to do off that item. That's something that you're just going to learn as a Faust player over time. Like, whatever item you get, you're going to want to know what's the best thing you're going to do off that. Trying to confirm into a combo, see a bomb, try and cross over to the other side and, you know, make them block wrong. It's like, there's so many possibilities that I could go on for hours about just throwing items and going into it. But that's kind of how you want to get things started. You're also going to want to use this as in neutral to zone a lot of the time. Not too much, but like it covers a lot of space. And it covers a lot of space in the ground for a while. So like, just don't get into a habit where the opponent like run under you and like grab you. If you're too high up, they can run under and you just jump up and grab. You just want to fill the screen with as much stuff as possible to make it hard on the opponent, whether it be limbs, items, bomb bags. Just keep it like chaotic for them. Once I get a knockdown, or I'm in a position where I've kept them blocking enough to where I can just keep forcing my way in, you know, I'm just going to want to keep you blocking as much as I can and just keep rushing you down. And my Faust, more so than a lot of other Fausts that people at least say, is like more Rushdown oriented, whereas I just like to keep going in. Once I get in, I just want to keep rushing you down. I used to be a Melia player for a while, so I do love Rushdown, but like I found Faust and realized, hey, I can rush down with him and zone with these cool long buttons. Like, that's really great. All right, so yeah, when it comes to his mix-up game, right, he has actually a really good high-low mix-up game. The key to it all, or at least one of the key components, is this move right here, 2K. 2K is a 3-hit low attack, even though it looks like a high. It also functions as an anti-air, and it's jump cancelable. The first hit only, or the first hit only. I always forget sometimes because in Exert, all 3 hits are jump cancelable. In this game, just the first hit, but it doesn't really matter because the first hit jump cancel is a low. What that means is I can now jump in and I can cancel into his FDC. His FDC, which I mentioned before, is really important to his game, but it's jump 2K, and when you jump, what you're going to do is you're going to instantly press down back, and you're going to hit kick and plink into another normal. You can do this with any other normal except dust, whatever you can use to FD, 2 buttons, and it allows me to stop when I'm, you know, my momentum. I can air dash and stop with it, backward. I can do it backward to air dash and stop with it. You know, like I told you before, I can float. As a result of this, I can cancel into any normal I want to. Whoops. Right, I can do this. I can zone like this. And, of course, I can do this. I can get these mix-ups like this, where it's a crossover with jump D. I can do, like, this one. All kinds of pressure strings I can get off that. So there's a whole bunch of uses with it. And the fact that he can cancel it off that gives me the option low overhead. I can do 2. I can do low overhead. Like, I can do empty jump into command grab. I can just do it and go for a low again. I can do like low jump, low. Like, there's so many options with this. I can do instant air dash for whatever reason if I wanted to. So like, this move is the like kind of the starter of a lot of his mix-ups. Obviously, you could just go right into it, instant overhead. Like I said, you could do the cross up. But that's like a lot of his mix-up options there. Obviously, he could just kick it into this. It's a great way to just, you know, open people up. Faust doesn't do a ton of damage off of some of those confirms, but like, so what? You know, he's in a favorable position, and you could really keep pressure going also with like instant air dash pressure, like off of certain moves that are jump cancelable. And like his P and K chain into each other indefinitely, in the air. Like he can't do jab, jab, jab like a lot of characters, so he does PK, PK, PK. So you could keep them blocking. Obviously, it's not 100% safe. There's gaps, but like a lot of people don't always react to it. And if you mix up how you throw those in there, like you could also do other stuff. Like you could even cancel this into like slash, right? Slash or heavy slash, like or dust. So like I mean, there's lots of ways to keep the pressure going, especially in the corner. So you can see how Faust's Rushdown game is pretty good actually. And so yeah, I mean, what I want to do is mainly like zone them to the point where I can start getting them to block and then just rush down as much as possible. This is also great for evading DPs. If a character like Soul, you get a knockdown and like Soul does Volcanic Viper, you could just block it like this. They come down and you get a full punish. You can bait supers out like this. If someone has meter and you want to respect the meter, you just do this in their face. And with a lot of supers, you'll block it and they just wasted 50 meter. Maybe you're not going to be in the greatest position afterwards, but it really depends on the super and the matchup. So without getting too much into the weeds, you know, it's a great tool for just kind of doing nothing and keeping it safe. You're FDing and you're in the air. Like you don't have to worry about guarding high lows. You know, they can air grab you. You got to watch out for that. But you know, like it's just a great tool to have. Doesn't cost a lot of meter. So that's kind of the general game plan when it comes to how I approach Faust. Piecing those things together, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So when you're playing neutral and you're using items and pokes, you're kind of fishing for the items that'll let you come in and start your rushdown plan. When you're doing the poking normals, which he's got a ton of normals that clearly cover a ton of space. How are conversions off of those pokes? Do you get to like follow up those pokes in ways that allow you to get the knockdown you need to start the rushdown portion of your game plan? Or are you just kind of poking for damage and like waiting for a different kind of opportunity to come in?
Yeah, so a lot of the time, like certain pokes, like Far Slash, I'm not gonna get a knockdown off Far Slash unless it's like the distance in which I can link Heavy Slash, because then I can do Pogo, and then I'll knock down. So like, right, I can show you. Hold up. Like that'll. He's a really big boy, right? He's a big hurt box. So a lot of characters though, like, that's gonna whiff. I'm gonna get a knockdown off Potemkin maybe from that distance, but like here, that's gonna whiff. So from there, I'm gonna want to just get item out. I want to just get something going. If I can get a good item, then I can force my way in by. See, the hammer just got me in. He was forced to block that hammer. If he threw out any button, I free combo. So like you just have to confirm visually as soon as it comes out. What am I doing? I got the coin. I can get in now. If I throw a chocolate bar here or something, like, yeah, now I have to think, okay, I got to back up here, reassess my approach or something. So it's really dependent on like what item comes out, and like even off this button, right? I'm not getting any knockdown off of 2H from here. I can cancel into like other certain pokes. Like this cancels into his punches, all of them, but like it's mostly just to like recover faster. I'm not getting a knockdown, but I'm going to want to confirm an item and then hopefully use that to get in right there. See, like, oh man, that's terrible for Faust. So now he has to just fall back, wait it out, wait till he can throw something else, wait for the opponent to like kind of get in on him, and try and keep him at bay. But if I'm close up, and you confirm close up, I'm going to get a knockdown. That's a knockdown, right? Like anytime I can basically hit you with like a slash or a kick, like from close, I can get a knockdown. Punch, anything from like close range, anything from far range, I'm basically not getting it unless I get like like a raw 2D, which sometimes I will throw out like in neutral. Like if I think they're afraid of like something that's going to come high or there's an item around there, I might just throw this out to get a knockdown. But in most cases, like, yeah, from like this range, you're not getting any knockdowns. It's only going to be like in this range. So you have to basically wait for the item and then force your way in with that item. See, now I can just go behind this little dude and get an opening. So does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And then another aspect of neutral I wanted to ask about. So Faust, in terms of like movement, is for lack of a better word, he's weird. He crawls along the ground. He's got a low profile, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, but his air dash is like awkwardly slow. Does that play to your advantage a lot in neutral? Do you low profile normals to get in? Do you like throw out an air dash that people might not be prepared for to kind of like bait a button that you can then whiff punish because he's slower? Are these things that come into play?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, you talked about crouch walk. Let's talk about this. The crouch walk's an amazing tool. This is just me holding down forward. I can't block, but my hurt box is so small. I can crouch under most projectiles in the game, like Venom, Stinger Aim, or Kai, Stun Edge. Obviously, not things that come from the ground like Gunflame. But I can crouch under a lot of normals, like Order Souls, like 5K or 6K, like the one where he, it's throw and vuln. Like I can crouch under it and like throw him afterwards. There's a ton of stuff I can go on. I don't have the whole list of moves I can crouch under offhand, but like it's a super useful tool in neutral to just evade things. You could just go into it really fast and then get out of it. Like when you're blocking a string, you could just like throw it out there, like knowing the next move is maybe going to be a 6K from Order, so I could be like boom. Knowing the Soul player is wild and does Riot Stomp from full screen, I'll just crouch under the Riot Stomp and I could get a free grab or whatever. So yeah, it's a very useful tool. Other things about his movement. I mean, his run speed's not bad, right? So he can get in pretty easily on the ground. You can close gaps pretty good, and you just use FD break to like control your movement well. Like I said, his air dash is slow, but he controls his ability to move around in the air better than almost anyone except maybe Bridget, in the sense that I have so much control over where I'm going, how fast I'm going, when I want to pull the brakes. Like basically his I guess you can say footsies in the air are very good because of that. Like a lot of characters, once they commit to the air dash, they committed to that air dash. Sure, their air dash doesn't last as long, but they committed to it. Me, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna air dash in. Oh wait, never mind. That looks bad, like a bad situation. Put the brakes on instantly, and I have the ability to then just throw like this awesome button out, or put the brakes on to throw a bag. So it really gives me the ability to play like that quote unquote footsies game, like in the air. It's pretty amazing actually. Really good to have that. I get this button too, like so good for movement and just contesting things in neutral, like ground attacks. So yeah, that's just kind of a nutshell of some of his movement stuff.
So we talked about your mix-up and pressure game plan a bit. You got the high-lows going on. Let's talk about what he can do, in a more standard block string. Like, are there characters maybe that you go against where you're not necessarily as comfortable going for the high-lows, and you maybe just want to go like a more standard route? Does he have good staggers to force mistakes? What can he do when he has control and pressure?
Yeah, crouch slashes will stagger counter hit. This is a good move to sometimes throw out. Also because like it actually covers the back of his head. It'll sort of hit behind him. It's a good anti-air in general, and it's jump cancelable.
Is that hand symbol a hitbox?
No, the tongue the tongue wraps around the back of his head a little bit. So like it'll actually hit, and it hits all the way from like ground up. So like it covers the ground if someone's running in at you. Yeah, but it'll stagger. It's a good anti-air. It cancels into this. It cancels a lot. It's jump cancelable. It's a really good move. So your question was more about also about just pressure and strings in general. I mean, he has so many battling routes. Is the amazing thing is like, I mean, like close slash and punch link indefinitely. So you can like keep doing that, and like at any point in that string, I could cancel 6H off the P's. So I could be like. Right, that's pretty cool. Not only that, but this is jump cancelable close slash. I mean, I could go like, oh well, if you get too far, you'll get far slash eventually, right? But I can cancel that into like instant air dash options. The fact that like all his close normals are jump cancel, like a lot of his normals are jump cancelable, right? This move is jump cancelable. Crouching dust is jump cancelable. Crouch slash is jump cancelable. This is jump cancelable. This is jump cancelable. This is jump cancelable. This is jump cancelable. After all those moves, I can go for an overhead mix-up if I want in my strings. I can throw them in there anywhere. I can just like air dash in or whatever. Like probably not from that far, right? If I'm at a farther distance, right? Like off this move, like it's jump cancelable. Like I can keep pressure going if I decide like, oh, never mind, I don't like what's about to come. I put the brakes on. I can just like come back down with this. Like there's just so many strings that he has, ways to get in. And like the fact that you can do far slat or 2H and like cancel into like another poke like this, I can just keep things going longer. Like I can cancel off of any of that stuff to throw an item at any time. Like if I don't have one out, wait to see what comes and then decide how I want to pressure afterwards. Like maybe go through a throw if something is going to threaten them that will counter hit them, or like I see it's a bad item, but I can still continue to pressure a little bit more from a distance. Like you have to just see it come out and know exactly how you want to keep going. And then there's just I couldn't even make a flow chart on it. It's just there's so many possibilities because the combination of items, screen position, and the character you're fighting, there's like so many possibilities of what's probably the better thing to do there. Even knowing the player, how they might react is like, it's just all knowledge that I have that I just have to rely on to like instantly tap into once I see that item come out. So there's just so much to it, how I would pressure, and I can't like explain it, but the much more beyond that, I guess. But there's just so many options in with his Gatlings, which is one thing I love about this game and this character. Like look at, I can just keep like bullying with long buttons, and they all string together if you know how to use them in certain distances. And once there's a gap, you're just like, okay, item time, and then you just go at it again, right? It's the beauty of his Rushdown game. In his pressure game. So yeah, like there is definitely gonna be different things based on the character, but that could take another hour or two to explain on its own.
How often are you giving up your turn? Like I realize it's not with every item, but like, so if you throw the wrong item, right, one that's not as good, like if you throw a chocolate or a donut, you're kind of giving up your turn to take that risk on the item. How often are you doing that in pressure, like trying to get the right item out versus like keeping your turn and keeping your rushdown going?
It really depends on like the distance you're throwing it. Like say for example, like I throw it like close, right? Kind of doesn't matter what I got because I'm going for a grab, right? If I'm like pressuring you from like a distance, like I mean, once I do like that, once I throw this button out, like I'm not gonna get anything off of it. Even like from there, I can't do pogo, right? So like if I'm pressuring from a distance, the item is just good to have. I'm not really giving up my turn. I'm just giving myself an item, and then that based on that item is I can create the turn or keep the turn going. Like if it's a hammer, I just keep going, right? If it's a mini Faust or mini like that, I'll just back up and then take my turn because it's there for me to use to my advantage. So I'm not going to really put myself in a situation where I'm giving up my turn if I know when to throw the items.
Let's talk about this command grab real quick too, because this command grab it's pretty fast, right?
Yeah, this command grab is not really a grab actually. It's a proximity unblockable.
Fancy.
So you'll notice it does 8 hits. And the opponent can actually gold burst out of it, which is dumb. Let me see if I can reproduce that.
It's a gold burst when they burst it?
Yeah. If they can burst it, with a regular burst if they wait long enough. But they do it right as it hits, it actually becomes a gold burst. Yeah, it depends on when they do that. But most throws in the game you can't actually burst out of, because you're in a state where it's just unburstable. Since his does hits, they can burst. But it's still a good move. Anyway, it doesn't matter because it has really good range. Actually, like as I'm like running, well, that was a little too far, but as I'm running towards them, I could kind of use that sliding forward momentum to get a little more utility out of it, or a little more range out of it. I mean, it just has better range in general than his grab. Like from this distance, I can do that, but if I press forward H, I'm not getting the throw. So it's better range. I can combo off it in the corner. And you can get like the flower loop. There's like different variations of this, but yeah, he can get some pretty crazy stuff off of it. But yeah, it's just good in general. Good good mix-up tool. Like I said, because it has longer range, by doing that, like, kind of hop pressure, whoops, I can go for a grab mix-up, whereas if I went for a normal throw, it would be too far away. So yeah, it's a really good move. So Standing Dust actually has invuln frames on like to lows and stuff, so it'll go through moves. So like if someone throws out a button, yeah, see,
What?
I just went through that. Yeah,
Is the tornado what's invulnerable?
yeah, when he's spinning. So when he's spinning around, he's like invulnerable to lows. You could still hit him with like Faust's 6H will hit him out of it. Like if I was to do Faust's like crouch P or crouch dust, like he would go through it. But if a move is like a jump in like this, or like something that hits from a high up, it's gonna hit him out of it. You could throw him out of it too. But like you just saw me go through Potemkin's big button there. He could go through like big buttons that, you know, stick out for a little while, and if he gets the counter hit on that, like the punish, he's just gonna get a full dust combo. So that's really good. So it can be good in like situations where you're like stuck in the corner and they're pressuring you, and you can use it to like go through things like a DP almost. But it's risky because if you guess wrong and they use the wrong attack, I mean you're gonna want to use it on reaction to like strings that are obvious, right? Like, you know, a string ends with like some big button that you can go through. You can throw it out there sometimes, but yeah, it's a little risky. So I don't try and use it. I don't try to abuse it too much, but it's there if you need it. So that's what's cool about that move specifically.
Let's talk about Faust's Oki game. You get a knockdown. I know earlier you said like you're trying to set up your rushdown from that point. Is that generally what you're going for in terms of Oki? Does he have any strong setups that can stuff a wake up and let him get going?
Yeah. So, like I said, so if I get a knockdown, right, like against let's say Potemkin doesn't have any meter, right? If a character doesn't have meter or like defense, like a good DP, like I'm gonna bully the hell out of them if I knock them down. I'm just gonna go for whatever mix up I want. Like stay out of grab range, obviously, but you know, I could go for a low high. I could go for cross ups. You know, I could do that. It's a cross up. I can knock them down. Backdash 6H. Like I could. The possibilities are just, there's so many possibilities. Now, if a character has meter, like Potemkin has meter, like I want to respect the mirror super because he's gonna, or I want to respect Heavenly. I don't want to like jump above, you know, I don't want to be in a position where, usually it's the mirror, but like I don't want to be in a position where I'm not too close. I might backdash and then just pressure from a distance again. Wait to see what they do, especially if it's a character that you can zone really well. But like if it's, let's say for example, it's a character like Potemkin that has a super that can really mess me up. Like I can jump up and throw a bag over them so that when they get up, they're forced to block it. And then from there I can kind of restart my pressure. So that's an option. Like say for example, it's Eno, right? Eno in the corner, like she has that one super where that burst comes out. Like you might want to try and bait it by jumping over it and throwing a bomb bag. That's a good way to like just keep them in check. Try to waste their meter, bait that out. Like I also said, against characters with DPs, like I can just bait their DP with this. And if I see that they didn't do the DP, well then I can reassess my situation. Maybe I have enough time to still throw a kick in, or maybe I land and go for the grab, right? Or maybe I land and do a low. But, you know, I'm playing this game now where at least if I'm making them realize, hey, you can't just throw that DP out. And maybe I can condition them not to use it anymore, knowing that I've baited it enough times with this. And then I can just actually go for my normal rush down patterns. So it's all about conditioning, right? Like with any other kind of character in certain degrees. So it's also dependent on like how the match has gone so far and like what the options the character has in terms of reversals, what meter they have at the moment to work with, what they can do with that meter. And obviously if they have meter for a dead angle, right? Like certain characters, you could bait dead angles easily. Like for example, Johnny, right? His dead angle if I just do 2K, his dead angle just like loses to that. Like I just took your dead angle. Like Zato's dead angle, like 2D will just go under it. Like, you just have to know character specific stuff. So it's all about trying to also disable their options, right? If they have a dead angle baited, if they have a burst, you want to do pressure strings that are a little more easier to block the burst in certain parts of it. So it's really dependent on the characters, but in general, my Oki game is rush you down as much as possible. And if I can't safely do it in a certain situation, I either need to condition you to make it okay to do it, or just do stuff to keep you blocking as much as possible, putting myself at a distance where I can play safe neutral again, and I still have, I'm still at frame advantage, or I'm still putting you, forcing a threat on you with a bomb bag or an item, or just a button or something like that.
Is item throw ever the move on a knockdown?
Sure. I mean, sometimes you want to throw an item as soon as you knock them down. I mean, I can go item throw and then go to a mix-up, and now I have this item to back me up. So for whatever reason I got meteors, or for whatever reason my mix-up failed and they hit me with something that hit me out of it, well, guess what? I basically just got a free burst, because now they have to stop whatever they're doing to block the meteors, or they're going to get hit out of it, right? Unless they have some galaxy brain set up where they can avoid them, and a lot of characters sometimes might. But, it's just having the item out there to maybe save you. Mini Faust, anything that can stop them from continuing their pressure or their combo. Like, it may not even happen right away, but just knowing that little extra bit of insurance is there to back you up is a great thing to have.
Okay. Let's talk about when the shoe's on the other foot. So we've talked about how he can control space so well, apply some serious rushdown pressure with wonky mix-ups and kind of condition. What happens when he has to block? What can you do when you're on defense with Faust?
So Faust's worst thing about him is his defensive options are not amazing. Now in this game, compared to other Guilty Gears, he has a little bit more. But even so, most of them he's going to need meter. As a Faust player, you better learn how to block. You better be able to block well, because you're going to be relying on it a lot. Whether that be knowing just when to faultless defense to push people out and find gaps, knowing when to insta block certain moves. If you don't have beater, that's your go-to. Obviously, backdash is pretty good in certain situations. It has invulnerability. It can go through things. Same thing like I explained with Dust. You can use it to go through certain things. There's plenty of stuff that can blow both of those things up, but they're there for you, possibly. Another thing on defense, obviously, that's good is this. This is his only real good reversal, but it's 50% meter, and you have to play this cup guessing game where I pick a cup I'm putting it in, and they have to guess with a button that corresponds to each cup. If they guess the right one, the angel comes out. And if the angel comes out, which you'll see if I don't pick a box, and guess what? Now it does almost no damage to me, but they're free. I wasted 50 meter, and now they get to they're at the advantage again. If Potemkin has 50 meter, you can Heavenly Potemkin Buster Faust out of that, which is pretty dumb. So, yeah, I could tech it at the height of it, but but that's the only really reversal I'm going to be able to go through stuff. Like if they're doing a pressure string on me and I can find a gap in it, and just mash that out there, I can stop that. You're never really going to use this in combos. There's no point. It gets scaled too poorly. If they jump over it, I'm kind of dead because they have all day. See, that's how long it takes to recover. I can get IK'd by a lot of characters in the cast. They can actually just go into IK mode, run up and kill you. So you gotta be careful that they're not onto you using it too much. That's why I don't abuse it a lot, because if they start baiting it out and they jump over it, you're gonna pay for it pretty hard. The only saving grace is that it does have an FRC. It goes pretty far. But on block or on hit, when he's in this state, I can FRC it. So if they block it, at least I can make it safe, but 75% meter. So it's a huge blow to my meter. Stock.
Some chocolate after that.
Yeah, you need a Chico after that. Yeah. So, other than that, he's got this. Force Break Chop. This move is amazing because frame 1, he's like airborne and he can't, like, it avoids lows and it'll go over a lot of stuff. So this is a great way of getting out of certain situations. However, if they know it's coming, if they do like a move like this, or jump, or there's so many things that'll blow it up outright, that if they know it's coming, they can easily just crush you for abusing it. So you can't just throw it out all the time. It's not like Soul's, Volcanic Viper. You can't just throw it out for every time. Like, it's very specific when you might want to use that move to get out of certain pressure situations, but it costs 25% meter. So other than that, like jumping out of stuff, like if I'm in the corner getting pressured, I push block gap, like super jumping out is good because your hurt box is really small when you super jump and you're like instantly in the air. So you can use that to maybe get out of the corner with air dash or throw a bomb bag, right? Or even use Force Break Pogo then for a movement option to get out of situations. But yeah, whatever you can do to get out of being pressured in the corner, so you can just get like fuzzy guard stuff, or just like, being in the air and being able to FD as opposed to being on the ground and just blocking some oppressive high-low stuff is just a win in a way. So yeah, that's really like all he really gets on defense that I can think of.
All right, ElvenShadow. If someone came to you today and said, man, I'm on the fence about playing Faust and +R, I think he looks pretty cool, but I'm not sure. What are you saying to them to push them over the fence? Why should someone pick up Faust right now in Guilty Gear XXX and Core +R?
Well, for one, he's considered widely probably a top 5 character in the game. And he is not so execution heavy in terms of his basic combos. Like, the hardest thing in terms of execution is FDC cancels, which isn't that difficult to do once you really get used to it. So he's not that hard to pick up and like be effective with to an extent, with very little experience. Like I'd say on a base level, he's not hard to pick. He's a little harder to master in certain ways, but that's just going to come with practice and experience. So I think you can, if you want to have fun with the game and just pick it up and play, he's a great choice because he, like you can have fun with him and be effective with him, just using his basic tools. And he's a lot of fun. He's just, I just really enjoy the random item aspect of it, the gambling aspect. I like to play poker. I like gambling sometimes. So it's just exciting not knowing what you're going to get every time and just like going with the flow and rolling with it. So, yeah, and he's funny, right? He's cool. He's fun. I don't know. He's a wacky character. Look at these buttons. What is there not to like about these long pokes? Like, these are so. I love characters with stupid long buttons. So, yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, Faust is the character for you.
Okay. Well, hopefully some new Faust mains see this episode, and next Frosty Faustings, your bracket is just overflowing with them.
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of the mirror match, but I welcome all new Faust players to the game. So, yeah, good luck.
All right. Well, that's all I got for you today, man. Thank you so much for taking the time being on the show. Where can people find you? Like social media? Do you stream? Do you have a YouTube channel? Go ahead and plug yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So you can find me on twitch.tv/ElvenShadow. My Twitter's @ElvenShadowMike. I'm also a coach on Medify.gg. It's just @ElvenShadow. So those are like kind of my main socials there. If you're looking to learn Faust and you want to hit me up, this is a basic guide, but if you want to go into more details or play some sets, you can find me on Medify and book a session. If you ever just have general questions or just want to, see a lot of information about events and things, or just Faust stuff in general, follow me on Twitter @ElvenShadowMike, and I stream tournaments I run through every week, and just general first to 10s exhibitions, sets with friends, whatever, on my Twitch, twitch.tv/ElvenShadow. So if you just want to see a lot of Faust play, not only for this game, but I'll be playing Strive, and once offline comes back, I'll get back into Exer again probably too. But just if you want to see all the Fausts, check me out on Twitter. Yeah, I guess that's it. So thanks a lot.